Yes, there's going to be a snowstorm, but unless you're in the mountains, you're likely not going to see much. What's up, guys? I'm meteorologist Jonathan and we talk and track all things weather. In this video, we're going to talk about why there likely won't be a big snowstorm in the Carolinas and Virginia, unless you're in the mountains, like some models are suggesting. There's also going to be a severe side and flood threat with that system. We're going to talk about that as well. We talk all the time about the number one ingredient you need for a good snowstorm, especially in the mid-Atlantic and parts of the Southeast. You need to have that cold air in place. We just don't have it. I'll show you where the cold air is coming from to get some snow with this system in just a second. I'll also show you the snowfall amounts from the model forecast in a couple of minutes as well, so stick around for that. Here is the developing storm as of Saturday afternoon and evening. Some very heavy rain falling through the Carolinas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. Also a severe weather threat at this time going on in Florida. I'll take a closer look at that coming up in a few minutes in this video. Note as we turn the page into Sunday, this is going to be 7 o'clock in the morning, and we do have different colors popping up. There will be snow. There will be wintry precip. If you're in the mountains, though, you are largely going to miss out on this. I want to show you a closer look here as this storm develops. This is going to be early in the morning on Sunday. This is just after midnight. And note that in Alabama, there we go. There's some pink. We could get some mixed precip in Alabama. Same thing in North Georgia. There are the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. And then also in central Tennessee, I think you're going to have the opportunity to see some flakes. There's 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, and there we go. I don't think it's going to be amounting to much west of Nashville, maybe a dusting at most, but still, I think we're going to see a few flakes there. Now, closer to Knoxville, different story. I do think we could see a couple of inches, and then certainly there is the very heavy snow starting to crank out right along the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. Asheville, we're going to be in for, I think, a pretty good snowstorm as you work your way into Sunday. Different view here. This is the mid-Atlantic view as the storm kind of ramps up on Sunday morning. So this is 7 o'clock in the morning again. And note that we had some light snow in Southwest Virginia. I think if you live in Roanoke, Blacksburg, that this is quickly going to change over from a quick little burst of snow to a wintry mix. You see the purple there? That's some freezing rain, or that pinkish purple color. Nobody likes freezing rain. But here's the very heavy snow again. Let me turn off the telestration and take this further out. And again, there's going to be a nice burst of heavy snow. Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia into North Carolina. Again, mentioned that I do think we're going to get some snow in central Tennessee. It's going to be very light before the changeover. And then as we take it in further in time, there is a little burst of snow into places like Galax, Blacksburg. Roanoke might be able to get in on that as well. It's not going to be amounting to much, though. And then all of this kind of gets out of here as we get into Sunday evening. So again, the heaviest snow is going to fall in the mountains and not in the lower elevations of the Carolinas, of Virginia, as a lot of models have been suggesting. Again, I think we miss out on this in Charlotte, Raleigh, for the most part, in Roanoke as well. All because of this. This is all because of this big upper low, and you see that right here. Now, I mentioned that we're not going to have a ton of cold air in place. This storm is going to be kind of generating its own cold air. With this big upper low, you get a lot of rising motion. So as I set this into Sunday, again, here is our upper low. When air rises, it cools. That's how we get that colder air to get a nice stripe of snow in the mountains. And then in central Tennessee, the colder air on the west side, on the northwest side of this low, as a result from all of that air being lifted and then being cooled in the process. All right. So, of course, there's the science behind that. Always like to talk about that to kind of get rid of some of the hype that's out there on social media. I want to show you the snow part of this forecast, though, because that's what really matters to everybody watching, especially in these areas. So here we go. These are the probabilities now of getting more than 3 inches of snow during this event. And you see where that stripe is again. Pretty much, not where that circle is, right where we just showed you those precip types right in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's going to be your best shot to get more than 3 inches of snow. The European, I think, has a great track. It has a great idea. I still think it's a little too bullish on snowfall amounts, say in Roanoke, Virginia, calling for 3 inches. That's what the model forecast. I think it's probably going to be less than that, maybe 1 to 3 inches in Roanoke. But you clearly see, again, it's the mountains of Tennessee, the mountains of North Carolina, the mountains of Virginia. That's where we're going to see the potential for more than 6 inches of snow. Again, this is at a straight up 10 to 1 ratio. 10 inches of rain equals 1 inch of snow. I think that ratio is going to be a little high as well. So these numbers of like 10, 14 inches might be a little too high. Nonetheless, I do think a good 6 to 12 inches will fall in the mountains of North Carolina, Southwest Virginia, and extreme eastern Kentucky towards the Tri-Cities. So again, I think a pretty decent snowstorm coming. Another rendition of this is the German icon. It does a fairly good job, and I want to show you that it kind of removes some of that noise. It's still at a 10 to 1 ratio, but I think all in all, it's handling the footprint of the snow better. You see there's 1 inch in Roanoke. Still a good amount of snow, though, in the mountains. This one takes it into Georgia a little bit more, but mainly, again, focus of this storm, the bullseye of the storm on Super Bowl Sunday is going to be in the mountains of, I'm going to say it again, Kentucky, North Carolina. Sorry, I keep on repeating myself. All right, there is an ugly side to this. This is going to be a severe weather side. The severe weather threat for Saturday as this system starts to ramp up a little bit. So we're going back in time now to Saturday. So we're looking at Saturday. And here's that first kind of wave early on Saturday. We could have a few isolated strong thunderstorms. Daytona Beach down to Tampa, right in that corridor. But the main severe weather threat when it comes to this is going to be later in the day on Saturday as the system itself starts to ramp up. So we're going to focus on that. And this is now going to be at about 4 to 5 o'clock in the evening. And we're going to watch this area in particular. Areas north of Orlando, south of Jacksonville. You see these little kidney bean shaped guys. We never like to see the kidney beans on future radar. Certainly, we never like to see them on the actual radar because that means we have supercells in progress. So those are supercell thunderstorms. What the deal with this is, we're going to have a developing area of low pressure. We're going to have a cold front, and then we're going to have a warm front draped right across the Florida Peninsula. Now, there's still uncertainty as where the main severe weather threat is going to set up on Saturday, but it is going to be tied to where this warm front is because that is where we could get storms to spin, that induced wind shear because of the southeast winds out of the surface, and then you're going to have that big upper low that we showed you with southwest winds aloft that could get those storms to turn, pending the amount of instability that we are able to generate during the day. So if we do see rain early on down the Florida Peninsula in those areas, that will help to kind of knock down the severe weather threat a little bit later on in the afternoon. So we are rooting for a dreary, gloomy start on Saturday if you live in Florida. If we do see some sunshine, though, that is going to help out, unfortunately, that severe weather threat get rolling. We have a level 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale right now, 2 days out as indicated by the Storm Prediction Center, but we just showed you that setup. There's going to be a lot of heavy rain with this. Now, we need the rain in parts of Florida, certainly around the Big Bend and Panhandle, and then, of course, in the southeast. We don't want it all at once, though. In that red, and certainly as you get in towards that brown color, you're talking north of 3 inches of rain possible from Friday all the way through Sunday. So some good soaking rain coming. Again, this could, though, lead to some flash flooding. So that is something that we're going to be watching again from Friday night all the way through Sunday as this storm ramps up through the southeast and eventually pushes off the coast. So I do think we're going to get a pretty big snowstorm, but mainly in the mountains of the states that we talked about earlier in this video. Please be careful of what you see on social media. I know there's a lot of junk out there showing a lot of heavy snow in the lower elevations east of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I don't think that's coming into fruition. Most of that is just posted for clicks and to grab your attention. But remember, pattern recognition is important. This is not the right pattern for heavy snow in the lower elevations, at least sustained heavy snow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you love talking and tracking the weather without the garbage, please consider subscribing, and we will catch you next time.